Hi, and welcome to Carolyn Crafts, the place for your fiber fix. So today I'll be showing you how to start learning how to hand spin. So the first thing I'll need is a spindle. There's different kinds. There's some where the whorl, which is this big round part, down at the bottom, and it doesn't really matter. You can try different kinds. It comes down to personal preference, really. I got this one off at Etsy. It was pretty cheap, and the shipping wasn't too bad, so I'll link that down below. The second thing you're going to need is wool. There's other fibers that you can spin too, but wool is probably the easiest to start out with. And so here's some. And you're going to want to think about what breed of wool you want to use, especially as a beginner. Different breeds of wool have different properties, and when you're just starting out, you really want something that's going to have medium length fibers, because it's just a lot easier to work with than something with longer or shorter fibers. So the two breeds you can probably get most easily, like on Etsy, or I think the Woolery sells some, which is another website, or maybe you even have a shop near you where you can get some. The blue-faced Leicester is a really popular one, even for non-beginners. I've been using Corriedale, and it's a little on the rough side, so I've been switching more to using merino now that I've learned how to spin. But it's a great beginner's yarn, or wool. So the first thing you want to do is your roving, which that's what it's called when it's in this form, will probably come in a braid, so just gently unbraid it. And then the first thing you're going to want to do is split the yarn. So I've already done this with this, because some old stuff I had lying around. But first thing you're going to want to do is just gently split the roving down the middle. And so you can just kind of make a hole in the middle, and then it'll just kind of gently pull, and it'll come apart like that. And you just do that the whole length of the roving. So I've already done this once, but I'm going to go ahead and do it again. You can really do it as many times as you prefer. But yeah, I usually just do it once because I'm lazy. But, the smaller the more times you pull it apart, the smaller around your roving is going to be, and so it's going to be a bit easier to spin thinner yarn, but it doesn't make a massive difference. So the next thing you're going to want to do is pre-draft, and this will make the spinning process a lot easier. So to pre-draft, hold your roving away apart and just snap it. And when you feel it give a little, that means you're good to go. And then let's get the end a little bit. So then once you feel it give a little, then shift your hands down a few inches. Pull again. Shift your hands down a few inches. Pull, oops. If you pull too hard, that'll happen, but it's not a big deal. Just keep going. Pull again. Just kind of a gentle snapping. Pulling too hard again. I'm not used to using roving quite this thin. Alright. So once you've done that, pick up your roving, or a piece of it if you pulled it apart. And we're going to want to start our yarn off. So some people use leader yarn, I don't, so I'll show you how I do it. So to start, you're going to just gently pull on the end of your roving when you'll make sort of a thinner piece. And then with your finger, gently twist it a little bit. Then take the hook and put this little twisted bit on your hook. And then I kind of let it untwist a little bit. And what I do, rather than doing the leader yarn, is I lay it back on itself. And this works better if it's not very twisted. So just twist it slightly so that it doesn't come apart. Like that. Okay. and then lay it back on itself, and now twist the two together. And you can use your spindle by rolling it between your thumb and fingers. Alright, so once you've done that, you have your yarn started. And so from here, the first technique you're going to want to use is the park and draft method. What I'm doing below camera is what I'm saying. I'm parking it, I'm putting it between my legs, I'm putting the spindle between my legs and holding it in place. So you can't see that, but anywho. So what you're going to do is give it some twist. So roll it between your thumb and fingers. And when you're doing this, always make sure you're twisting in the same direction. Otherwise it will untwist what you've done. Okay, so here we, let's see, can you see that? There's some little kinks forming in it. See when I release. So I've put a lot of twist into this little piece. So I'm going to park it. Well, I'll put it here so you can see. And then keep the very top of the twisted portion pinched so it doesn't go up into your yarn like that, or into your roving. Then that makes things difficult. So I'm going to do that. Alright, so now you're going to hold the top of the twisted part so it's not untwisted anymore, and then you're going to gently pull to thin out your roving. Once you've gotten, this is called drafting, this sort of pulling it thinner. Once you've got a portion, pinch here at the top so that the twist isn't going to travel too far, and then release here. And it'll send that twist up the yarn. And I put a lot of twist in, so I'm going to be able to do that again. So pinch, release. And let's see, I probably need a little more twist now. And the amount of twist you need is sort of something you gain a feel for over time. I probably made 3 skeins of yarn before I could do it consistently. But, okay, so I'm adding some more twist, again, going the same direction. Doesn't matter which direction it is, just be consistent. And then again, I'm going to park it. And then pinch here at the top of your yarn. Pull gently on the roving. Pinch the yarn again. Or your future yarn, release, and that twist will travel up. And so at this point you're actually spinning. It's a slower technique, but it's effective. So I would work on doing this for a while, and once you really get the hang of it, you can move on to other techniques. But you're going to want to get the yarn onto the spindle. So once you've got a nice section ready, what I usually do is, so you're going to want to kind of try to pinch everything. And I take the end here and just sort of tie it on. It can be a little difficult when the yarn's trying to get everywhere. When you're doing this, you're making a single, which is an unbalanced yarn, so it's got twist in one direction, and it will try to twist back on itself, which can make it a little difficult to handle. Later, when you have quite a bit of it done, then you apply it, which is where you twist it back on itself in a controlled and purposeful manner. But anyway, so I tied it on. See that there. And now I'm going to try to roll it up. And that can be a little difficult at first because there's not always a ton of friction there. If you're really struggling, you could get a little piece of tape, I guess. That would probably help. Okay, so roll it up, and then if you can see, there's a notch. Yeah, that's kind of visible. There's like a notch there. I'm going to put the yarn in the notch and then wrap it around the hook a couple times. And that way, when you're spinning, it'll they kind of put. And so you just start the process again. You put a bunch of twist in it, park and draft. See how I'm pinching, pulling, and then releasing? That way it's controlled. Yeah, and then eventually what you can do is spin it while you're drafting, which I'll talk about in another video. So yeah, that's the basics of hand spinning with a drop spindle. It's a really affordable way to start spinning. Spindles are usually pretty inexpensive. There are fancy ones that cost more, but you can even make your own if you really want to save money. I've seen people use like a dowel and a hook and like a old CD. So it's really economical, and it's possible to find roving that's not too expensive either. There's a lot of like hand painted stuff on Etsy that is more expensive, but you can often find solid color stuff that's less expensive, and then I think the Woolery has some nice prices on some stuff. But yeah, always check the price. Different kinds of wool, because there's wool from like other animals besides sheep, and sheep's wool is usually pretty affordable. Once you move into like yak wool, that's a lot less affordable. I've never used yak wool. It's exorbitantly priced. I guess no one wants to shear a yak. But when you're when you're ready to set aside your spinning, just roll it up onto your spindle a little bit, and it'll hold it nicely in place, and you can set it aside. I keep mine in an old Quaker Oats container that I like decorated with some wrapping paper. This is my spinning box, and this fits nicely in there, nice and contained. So I hope that video was helpful to you. Have fun spinning. Thanks for watching.